Are we dealing in fake currencies? Good morning, Vanakkam, welcome, Suprabhatham. A long time ago, the English thinker Thomas Carlyle said that in public life, everyone is like a banknote. Every public functionary is like a banknote. He does not really elaborate a great deal on that thought, but this statement has remained etched in my mind as something very significant. Let's examine what this insight could possibly mean for us in the Indian context. Ideas are universal, but their application must be local as well as national. That is what we mean by contextualizing ideas. These words may sound strange or out of the way, but the process involved is down to earth, familiar, and necessary. So let's examine the possible application of this idea provided by Carlyle that every functionary, every person in public life, especially every person who is noted or every notable person in public life, is like a banknote. Now, in the case of a banknote, it is not merely a piece of paper on which certain things are printed. The banknote or banknotes have collateral, which is usually kept in the form of gold. So the government gives the guarantee that the value, the face value of the note, is assured in terms of the corresponding gold deposit for which the government holds itself responsible. So there is a guarantee that what you are holding in your hand, what you are dealing in, is not fake, but that it is genuine, that its worth is something you can trust, its worth is genuine, it is guaranteed. Whereas in the case of a fake note or counterfeit note, there is no collateral. It appears to be of a certain face value, but that face value exists only in appearance. It has no collateral. There is nothing that corresponds to it. Its value is merely a matter of appearance. So, two different kinds of notes. One, genuine notes, which have their value guaranteed through collaterals. You don't see the collateral, but the collateral exists. So, the value of the note is guaranteed. The case of the second type of notes, the fake or counterfeit notes, they appear to have some value, but there is no collateral, there is no corresponding deposit anywhere, and therefore its value is not guaranteed. It's not even worth the paper on which it is printed. So this distinction is clear, and we can keep this at the back of our minds. Now, let's concentrate on two fields, two major aspects of life, religion and politics. Now, in religion, in politics, or in public life, when I say politics, politics also includes governance. We have various government functionaries. We also have opinion makers. We have leading figures in the media. We have industrialists, all this combined. Now, in every society, in every economic system, a certain percentage of the notes will be counterfeit notes. There is no economy in the world which is not, to some extent at least, polluted by counterfeit notes. The extent to which the counterfeit notes operate in a given economy would vary from country to country, but it is there in every economy. But while an economy can function like that, with counterfeit notes up to a certain proportion of the genuine notes, no economy can function if 100% notes are counterfeit. It creates an economic crisis which cannot be handled at all. So, what happens to a society, a political culture, a national system in which all functionaries are counterfeits? That is, they pretend to have a lot of value, a lot of worth, but they really have nothing. Now, in such a context, since the people know that they cannot deal with or they cannot manage in such a system, they, in their state of desperation, will try to create what they would like to believe are genuine notes, not counterfeits. And this is the whole process, I believe, that's going on in our country at the moment. For example, the Indian politically conscious public is now polarized into two camps, a polarization that has reached a new level of intensity through the just concluded parliamentary debate between Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi and Sri Rahul Gandhi. Two clear-cut camps with two clear heroes, defined in neat terms as never before. Now, when I look at these two camps and the desperation with which the followers of each camp are trying to hold on to these two heroes of their making, I am reminded of this description or this insight provided by Carlyle, that when in a society people find out that all notes are counterfeit notes, they become desperate, and in a state of unconscious but intuitive motivation, they try to create what they would like to believe and they're desperate to believe are genuine notes or genuine heroes. So, Sri Narendra Modi as a genuine hero of India, see Rahul Gandhi as an anti-hero or a counter-hero or an alternate hero of India. Now, there is a saying that black money or bad money will drive good money out of the market. Any economist will tell you this. Bad money will drive good money out of the market. That is to say, in a competition between bad money and good money is bound to lose. Well, this is a truism. It is being harbored, it is being endorsed. I am not an economist to be able to go into the practical details of how this happens, but if you are keen to investigate this further, please get in touch with a good economist or even a teacher of economics at the undergraduate level will be able to explain the nitty-gritty of this to you. It would be very interesting to follow up on some of these realities. Now, if you look at the rhetoric of both camps, the NDA camp and the UPA, not UPA, the India camp, suddenly everything falls in perspective. Each camp is trying its level best to convince the whole of India that the other camp is full of counterfeit notes. Now, if you can go back in memory to 2013-14, in the months preceding the 2014 general elections, the stupendous task undertaken by Sri Narendra Modi was to convince every Indian that members of the Nehru-Gandhi family were all counterfeit notes. That's where he so admirably and effectively used the rhetorical attack of dynastic politics, Parivar Rashtriya. Now, that is to say, in a democratic culture, in a democratic age, dynasts are counterfeit coins or counterfeit notes. They have no value. There is no collateral for them. You would be foolish to repose your faith in these counterfeit notes. Now, this is readily understood because we have the 2016 demonetization experience, demonetization and trauma in our minds fresh still. What happened to the 500 and 1000 denomination notes? They suddenly lost all value. So, Sri Narendra Modi made an almighty effort with deadly, devastating effect to convince the people of India that members of the Nehru Gandhi Parivar, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, they were counterfeit notes, political counterfeit notes. And he used the phenomenon of corruption as the evidence to prove that they are political counterfeit notes. This will enable you to understand the devastating effect that Modi's election propaganda had, which actually decimated the Congress, from which the Congress has not recovered even today. So the Congress slumped to 43 members in the parliament. It slightly improved its position to 53, and now in 2024, it has with great effort, almighty effort, come up to 99. It could possibly go up to 100. But the devastation that that particular campaign has had on the Congress party is still a reality. And the angle of approach or the perspective I'm offering to you could enable you to understand better than any other perspective, I dare say, on the effectiveness, the devastating, deadly effect of Sri Narendra Modi's anti-Congress attack. And he projected eradicating Congress as a presence on the political landscape of India as a patriotic duty, simply because he equated the Congress with counterfeit currency notes. Just as counterfeit currency notes are to be caught and destroyed, Congress, being a political counterfeit currency note, must be eradicated from the political map of India if India is to survive, if India is to make any progress. So eradicating Congress was projected as a national imperative, a patriotic duty. Now, we must understand the rhetorical power of all these points of attack. So, in a matter of months, this powerful propaganda succeeded in convincing millions and millions of voters in India that they had been endorsing counterfeit currencies politically, political counterfeit currencies for a while, and now the time has come to switch over to genuine currencies. And Modi presented himself as the genuine currency, and the idea that he will be the chowkidar of the welfare of the people. Na khaunga, na khane dunga. The India will be a holy land of political integrity and probity in public life, that all ideals and ethical norms will thrive and prevail. The national life is going to be heaven-like. Acha din aa raha hai, acha din aa gaya hai. All this is part of the same phenomenon, and it's very interesting now in retrospect to understand what exactly was the strategy involved. I have to admit that when this was going on, I couldn't really put two and two together and get the real meaning of what was happening. Though I had an intuition, but I did not have clarity. That's the reason why I've not made a statement as frontal as I'm doing at the moment. Now, after that, what has happened? in a very slow and sluggish way, the Congress camp has realized what has happened to them. And I think Rahul Gandhi must be given the credit due to him for thinking clearly and understanding the damage it has suffered and the logic behind it. So, what is he trying to do? He is trying to project a counter hero image. He is trying to project himself, of course, aided by a whole set of people. So, Rahul Gandhi is being projected as a counter to Sri Narendra Modi. Now, in order to do that, it is now necessary to project Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi as the counterfeit note, the fake currency. And if you want to understand the animus, the spirit of attack that sort of rippled in the speech made by Sri Rahul Gandhi in the Parliament in the wake of the presidential address to the joint session of the Parliament, which is perhaps the most talked about speech, at least in the last 12 months. This is the best way to understand it. Rahul was trying to prove very effectively, I must admit, whether the BJP camps, the Modi Amit Shah camp likes it or not, they will be livid with anger towards me when I say this. Rahul Gandhi has succeeded to a large extent in convincing millions of people that those who pretended to be the genuine currency are also fake currency. And on his part, he is trying to project, or the Congress camp, now the enlarged version of it, the India camp is trying to project Rahul Gandhi as the genuine currency, the genuine banknote. Now, in order to establish that, it is necessary also to prove that Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi and his teammate Amit Shah ji are both fake currency notes. So, this offers you the best perspective to understand the political rhetoric of attack in progress involved in the face-off between the two camps, which is basically like in olden days, in the tribal times, the face-off between two chieftains. In the days that the tribes prevailed and tribal wars took place, very often the tribal war was between two individuals. We have an example of that in the Bible when the Philistines come to attack the Israelites. It's not that the entire army fights. The Philistine army does not fight the Israelite army, the Jewish army. Instead, one representative of the Philistine army, namely Goliath, is made to wrestle with or fight one representative of the Jewish army, namely David. So, the battle between David and Goliath. So, the tension and the struggle between Modi and Rahul Gandhi is anticipated and beautifully paralleled in the Bible by the fight between David and Goliath. Now, of course, it's a matter of speculation as to who is David and who is Goliath. In the present Indian context, is David represented by Rahul Gandhi or Narendra Modi, is Goliath represented by Rahul or Narendra Modi. Time will prove, and the good thing is that we will not have to wait for long to get an answer for it. But the pattern is clearly ditto the same. It is the old tribal situation. So, the battle is not between all members of the NDA camp, all members of the India camp. No. Two heroes representing both camps are brought forward. They are made to fight this battle in the designated space of the Parliament, which becomes the boxing ring, as it were, and it is showcased, it is broadcast, it is brought to the homes of every Indian. We sit and watch this tribal war, though it is dressed up in modern costumes, democratic costumes. The essential pattern goes all the way back to the twilight historical time of tribal wars. This is a tribal war in progress. And the attempt on the part of both camps is to prove that the other camp is a fake currency, counterfeit note. It has no value. We alone have all the value. This is why, my friends, I say that I adopt a neutral position as an observer, as a thinker, since I want to be loyal to my calling, my vocation as a teacher. My fundamental duty is to think as well as to challenge my fellow human beings to think, because to me, thinking is the seed of human freedom. If you don't think, you'll end up as a slave. If you don't think, somebody else will think for you, and the person who thinks for you will only think in accordance with his own best interest, and he or she will use you as a tool to promote his or her interest. And ultimately, you will live your life and you waste your life as a slave of somebody else. I think that's a terrible insult which we can very well avoid. So, the one truth that history has taught me is that thinking for oneself is the basic precondition for individual liberty. Now, for example, take the problem of peer pressure. What is peer pressure? Peer pressure is the pressure that makes young people collapse into behaviors that are repugnant simply because they don't think for themselves. When I joined as a graduate student of St. Stephen's College way back in 1971, the college was at its zenith in terms of the drug culture. In the very first night of my presence there, I was approached by half a dozen students offering me fresh, free of cost joints in order to help me have an experience of the high. They were very, shall I say, sympathetic, pitiful towards me because I had not such experiences before. So I was called a sissy. Sissy is a boy who is no better than a girl. So I was called a sissy. Young people must experiment, you know. And they were willing to give me everything free of cost. But fortunately, God has given me this capacity to think for myself. Did I go all the way to Delhi, traversing some 3,000 kilometers just to experiment with drugs? Or did I go there in search of better education? If I went there in search of better education, how can I fall into these black alleys, blind alleys? So I thanked them profusely and told them that that was the last time they would ever come into my room. And they were not ready for it. They were greatly offended, and I was boycotted for the rest of my time as a student in St. Stephen's College. Of course, I was nicknamed Mr. Serious. But of course, time vindicated my decision. And I don't want to go into details because you might think that I'm blowing my own trumpet. So what I'm saying is, if you don't think for yourself, you're a de facto slave. So my commitment, my keenness to spread a culture of thinking for oneself is actually the practical outworking of my commitment to human freedom, personal liberties. So you will see that in history, all dictators try to monopolize the thinking of the people. That's the reason why they always suppressed free thinking and stigmatized radical thinkers as anti-social elements, or in the particular Indian lingo, urban Naxals. Who are these urban Naxals? They're not Naxalwadis who resort to armed conflict and violence. They are free thinkers. And free thinkers are a nuisance to every dictator, every center of power that wants to exist for itself, and every center of power that holds personal liberty to be a great danger to their vested interests. So, if you really want to maintain your personal freedom, please think for yourself. Now, I want to express my appreciation for Carlyle for providing us a perspective to understand what's going on in our society. Now, it's a mark of a great thinker that he offers us perspectives, the pattern of which remains relevant irrespective of superficial or outward changes in terms of structures and in terms of superstructures and variations. So this pattern will remain. The struggle between the good coin and the bad coin, good money, bad money, genuine notes and counterfeit notes. And both parties will try the level best to prove that the other party is a counterfeit coin. But the fact of the matter is, please understand that there are counterfeit coins everywhere. But what we have to do if we are interested in our own welfare at all is choose the block in which the counterfeit coins are fewer. That's all you can do. In this world, we'll have no perfect solutions, no perfect options. I don't believe that Rahul Gandhi is a saint. I don't believe that Narendra Modi is a saint. Therefore, the only question is which of the two coins is likely to do less harm? I don't think either of them can lead us into a new heaven of freedom, of human dignity, of personal security, of equality of opportunity, or a new sense of brotherhood, uniting all Indians, like in the a pledge that I was made to take when I was in school. India is my country, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. Now, when you think of pledges like that we took 60 years ago, 65 years ago, they look so strangely out of place today because the overall political climate and the way of perceiving one another has changed so much that these pledges that were taken with such fervor years ago look so strange, so outlandish, as if they now belong only to fairy tales. Anyway, please remember, let's not be carried away. What we are witnessing is a battle of counterfeit coins, and the people of India will not be helped by counterfeit coins. They need genuine coins, and therefore a lot of public fervor is attached to this process, hoping against hope that some of these coins will prove genuine coins. And that's a hope that I also entertain. And the reason why more and more people are desperately attaching their hope and loyalty to Sri Rahul Gandhi is that, going by whatever signs are available to them, it seems to them that he is the genuine coin available at the moment. They had reposed their total and desperate faith in Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi. Many of them now feel that it was misplaced, and if that has happened, then Sri Narendra Damodar Das Modi needs to sit up and think as to how this has happened, and if there are remedies or rectifications necessary to be adopted, that would be a wise way of looking at it rather than suppressing every statement of truth. So the terrible temptation of a person who has tasted the blood of power is to use the sledgehammer approach and to crack the skull of anyone who dares to utter inconvenient truths, forgetting that even in his case, it's only the truth that will help him. You go along in a kind of self-opinionated, bigoted way along this path of brutal domination and intolerance, you will dig your own grave, because that's the truth of history. You examine the broad panorama of history and see if there is a single exception to this rule. Every dictator, every person, every political leader, every ruler of the people, intoxicated with the power of, with the heady intoxicant of absolute power, has committed this suicidal blunder of thinking that he or she can save himself or herself with the power of the sword. or with the iron fist with which one rules. The more you resort to it, the deeper you dig your own grave. The only way forward is to see if one needs to correct the paths, the methods, the approaches, the strategies, the priorities one has embraced so far. And if some value that corresponds to one's public image, so carefully and laboriously projected through a variety of strategies, can be created as collateral, the political collateral, so that the lost and fast losing trust of the people can be restored. And once political ship steadied in these choppy waters of the turbulent Indian political ocean. So I wish the people of India all the very best. And I again restate my conviction that the people of India deserve better than this. Jai Hind.